The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Shady Rays. SGPN is teaming up with Shady Rays for Shady May. Get 50% off of your Shady Rays using promo code SGPN, and then go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win $500. And we're also brought to you by our Kentucky Derby contest. The winner gets a $100 SGPN gift card exclusively on the SGPN app. Welcome everyone to the NBA Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Thursday, May the 4th, currently 11:03 on the East Coast. Here to recap everything we saw in Game 2 between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. And we'll also get into our betting picks tonight for Game 2 between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors, as the Warriors look to even up the series. But helping me to break it all down here, you guys know him as the newest voice of the NBA Gambling Podcast. He's in full form. It's Delonte. Actually, excuse me. It's playoff Lonte. Lonte, what's going on, my man?
Hey, man. Not much. Looking forward to breaking this card down and I guess recapping a little bit of what we saw or what we didn't see from Philadelphia last night. But yeah, man, looking forward to it. Hopefully we can stay hot. Been seeing it pretty well. So hopefully we can just stay hot with the picks and keep making some money.
Yeah, man, it's that time of the year where we're only getting about maybe one game a day, 2 games a day now. So we can dive a little deeper into these games than we usually can during the regular season. But yeah, last night I did not have a great lock and dog yesterday. I took the first half team total over for the Celtics. I think I got hooked by half a point. And then I took Embiid, and I saw a lot of people, at least the sharper guys that I know that handicap NBA. I also took Joel Embiid's over 3.5 assists last night. That was at plus money, but that one didn't get to the window either. But hopefully we can bounce back here tonight. But last night, Delonte, we did see the Boston Celtics take care of business against the Philadelphia 76ers. We did see the return of Joel Embiid last night. But Boston takes care of business. They get the Game 2 victory, 121-87. They covered the first quarter. They covered the first half, and they also obviously covered the full game, getting a 34-point victory against the Sixers. I thought I told everyone last night that Jason Tatum would have only played 19 minutes, was 1 of 7 from the floor.
Right.
0 of 3 from three-point land, and only had 7 points. This game might have been a lot closer than people would have thought, but they really did need him, and I think he spent a lot of the game in foul trouble yesterday, Delonte. But Tatum only had 7 points, but the other guys really stepped up. It was led by Jaylen Brown in 30 minutes, 9 of 17 from the floor, 3 of 6 from three-point land. He chipped in with 25 points. Malcolm Brogdon, again, off the bench, 24 minutes, 23 points, hit some huge three-pointers. Really in that third and fourth quarter to create that separation where they outscored the Sixers 35-16. And then we also had double-digit point performances from Marcus Smart, Derek White, and also Grant Williams off the bench. The Celtics last night, Delonte shot 20 of 51 from beyond the arc, and Embiid made his return last night. Played 27 minutes, was 4 of 9 from the floor. He did have 15 points, but he also did have 5 blocks last night for the Sixers. But Celtics even up the series. They're headed back to Philly 1-1. Anything that stuck out to you last night as far as this game between the Celtics and the Sixers?
Well, early on, it looked like Philadelphia was going to hang in there. They were doing really well defensively, especially with how Boston attacked them in Game 1. They weren't able to do that in Game 2 with Embiid in the middle, as we've seen with I think he had 4 blocks in like the middle of the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So he was doing a real good job of rim protecting. A lot of those back cuts, they weren't there because the defense on the perimeter was playing a little bit more aggressive and not allowing them to just blow bottom because they knew they had Joel in the back. So I thought that was very key. I thought he was better defensively than he was offensively. He had a stretch in I want to say it was the second quarter where he hit like a couple of jumpers and he got to the foul line a couple of times. I thought he looked good there. After the game, he was saying that he wanted to play to knock the rust off. I kind of respect that because you want to go ahead and get this game out of the way so you can see how comfortable you are with that brace on and how you can move or whatever. And I'm pretty sure the Celtics didn't play him as they would if he was 100%. And he said also in the post game that he probably won't be 100% for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So I guess that's an advantage to the Celtics. Probably shouldn't have said that, but I mean, but I think that dictates how they play him because they don't have to double him at all. They can play him straight up, and by playing him straight up, they're not leaving no shooters. And as we've seen, if they get wide open looks, they're gonna hit him in the Brooklyn series. And overall, I didn't think Celtics played particularly well outside of Jalen. Jalen was aggressive from the jump.
Yeah.
Smart played well. I thought Smart played a good like point guard-ish game. He was distributing a lot. Brogdon, of course, and Grant Williams was incredible as far as energy, effort. And other than that, though, I don't think they played well. I think in the third quarter, or to start the third quarter, they were Tatum, Brown, and White. Let's see what I got for. Tatum, Brown, and White were 3 of 14 in the third quarter, in the second quarter. Like that's at the end of the second quarter. So and they were up 8-9 at the break.
They were by 8. I think it was like 57. Of course, I remember the 57. 57
right.
to 40. 57 to 49. They were by 8.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought that was a good sign right there that they were going to do well in the second half. But I thought the 76ers, they didn't get much from Harden. Maxey was okay. Even Tobias stat padded at the end, kind of, but he wasn't as bad in this game also. But yeah, I mean, I just think the Celtics they just outplayed them, out hustled them, out physical them. They were more desperate, obviously. Philly was probably comfortable getting that 1-0, or getting that 1-1 split. So I mean, it kind of went how I thought it would go. Of course, not the 30-point victory, but I thought that they would win comfortably. Somewhere in between 10 and 12. But I thought it would still be competitive. But I guess everybody's converted back to being, not themselves as they were in game one versus, with Embiid back. So the pace slowed down. I thought that favored Boston because their half-court offense and half-court defense is better than what Philadelphia's is. So, I mean, just from a pace perspective, I thought that it kind of hurt the Philly because they weren't able to get out and run, get Maxey in space. Harden is a lot better in space. Obviously, he can't move like he could, 4 or 5 years ago. But I mean, neither can I. So, I mean, yeah, man, I just think Harden has to be a little bit more aggressive. He doesn't have to be what he was in game one. He just has to be somewhere in between. He can't go 2 of 14. I think that's what he was last night. He can't go 2 of 14. And I mean, I think Doc, he didn't play Milton enough. Like Milton hit those shots. He's capable of hitting the shot. So, I mean, I don't see why he's not out there more. He played a lot of Niang. I like Niang a lot. But he just didn't have it last night. But overall, I mean, I think the Celtics just outplayed him. Mazzulla did make some decent changes. So I know people bag on him, but I give him a little bit of credit for what he did last night. But outside of that, I thought it was pretty much, a night that I thought that I saw coming pretty much. Just not the 30-point victory. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I think the difference, I mean, I think me and Scott mentioned just that this was probably going to be a blowout situation for the Celtics. And it was just really they knocked down their 3-point shots last night. It was in particular in that third quarter for the Boston Celtics. They outscored them 35-16 in that third quarter. Again, that was pretty much the story last night. Give a lot of credit to, like you mentioned, Jaylen Brown was aggressive from the tip. He knocked down, some 3-point shots. He got to the basket. Try to put a poster on Joel Embiid
twice.
Twice. So
he made the lead the first time.
Yeah, so he's going to stay aggressive. I think that was a good sign for the Boston Celtics. And again, it was just, if you just looked at what the 3-point shooting numbers were last night, Philadelphia 6 of 30 from the 3-point land. And then the Boston Celtics 20 of 51, plus 14 came out plus 42 from 3-point line. Again, that was just the difference last night. So, and I think a lot of people expected obviously James Harden to regress after having a 45 performance in game one. Like you mentioned, he was only 2 of 14 last night. So, yeah, I mean, I thought, I think we discussed on the pod that it was a smash spot for the Celtics last night. They just came out to care of business, and getting Joel Embiid back, I think a lot of people bet on the Sixers, kind of think, or the public at least did, thinking, hey, this team in game one in Boston without
Right.
Joel Embiid,
Mm-hmm.
won a game without the MVP. Now you're getting them back.
Right.
They could possibly win again. But um, we've always talked about this throughout the season that when Embiid is on the floor, they usually slow the pace down.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's not on the floor, I think we saw it in game one where they push the pace a little bit and get their baskets that way. So we'll see what the adjustments are going to be for Doc Rivers now as we head to back to Philly for Game 3. But nonetheless, like we mentioned, Celtics take care of business. They even up the series here at 1-1. Anything else from last night there, Delonte?
No, I think we pretty much hit it all.
All right.
Oh, except for I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, if you like in the player props, and like you can get live player props, like I would take Jaylen Brown first quarter every game. He is like unreal in the first quarter. I think he had 12, at least 12 or more in I think over half of his playoff games so far. He's really, really assertive early on, and then I guess Tatum's more in the fill out process because he gets it going in the second quarter. I think he had 20 in the first game. Foul trouble did deter him in the second game,
Yeah.
but Jalen was and is always aggressive early on, like attacking the paint, especially on the defensive end also. So if you enter some player props, check that Jaylen Brown first quarter points. It's going to be a good bet for you.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, like from the jump, like he came out and he was aggressive, and
Right.
it was really like the first quarter, where he had, I think, what 14 points in the first
Right.
quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So yeah, he looked good. So, um, as a Rockets fan, I'm hoping he comes over to
Yeah,
Houston.
I was just about to say, did you hear those rumors about him not being happy and stuff?
Yeah, and I think that I mean, we read stuff on the Twitterverse that he was a huge fan of Coach Udoka when he was with Boston. So we'll see what happens offseason. I'm hoping they I think either way, if they do win the finals or if they don't win the finals, I feel like Jaylen Brown may be out the window or are
Yeah,
going
they tried to
leaving the
give him
team.
like a team award to like keep him to make sure
Yeah,
he's known as he's valuable. But
yeah.
it was a story out there about when KD was going to Brooklyn. Well, I
Hmm.
mean, when KD was in Brooklyn and they were wanting to trade for him, that him and Tatum were like out together, like
Yeah,
talking and
yeah,
stuff. I don't know if you heard that, but yeah, I thought that got back to Jalen and he wasn't happy at all. Like,
yeah. I
yeah,
remember
so
that.
yeah,
And the
man.
post it was a post game interview that he was doing. There's something that it was mentioned about the Boston crowd, like I don't know if
Yeah,
they were
yeah, I remember that.
booing him
Yeah,
or something
yeah,
like
I
that, but he
remember.
wasn't
Yeah,
happy about that.
yeah, man. Don't look good. Don't
Yeah.
look good.
All right. Before we get into the game here for tonight, let me tell everyone about Shady Rays and Shady May. Shady Rays is teaming up with SGPN for Shady May. Not only do you get an amazing 50% off when you buy the Shady Rays, you also have a chance to win 500 big ones. Shady Rays have you covered from the sun to the slope with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much more. Shady Rays have durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. Wear Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. And if you don't love them, exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. Their team always has your back. So go to shadyrays.com and use promo code SGPN for 50% off of 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Then take your receipt and go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win 500 Shady May contest. Again, that's $500 for your chance to win with our Shady May contest. Yeah, I got myself a pair. Man, they're nice, man. There's so many different designs that they have. You guys need to check it out. Go to shadyrays.com right now, or after you're done listening to the pod, check it out. You can get 50% off when you buy 2 or more pairs of the sunglasses, whether that you buy 2 for yourself, for your partner, for aunt, uncle, dad, mom, grandma, grandpa. I don't care. Just check it out. Go to shadyrays.com, promo code SGPN. All right, Delonte, we got 2 games. I wish we had 2 games. So we have 1 game
Right.
on the schedule here tonight. Western Conference semifinals between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. We saw the Lakers get the game one victory against the Warriors, 117-112. What's a little bit tough situation for the Golden State Warriors, coming off of the game seven and a quick turnaround to face the Los Angeles Lakers. Luckily for them, they didn't have to travel to LA. They have the home court advantage in this series, but not anymore. Lakers have stolen that. They did get the game one victory. So we're on to game two here tonight. It's going to be a 9 o'clock Eastern start. Right now, as it stands, the Warriors are favored by 6 points. Currently, the total is at 227. Delonte, let's start with the side here. -6 in favor of the Warriors. What are you thinking about the side?
Yeah, I'm probably leaning to the Warriors. Similar to what we see in most home teams losing game one. So I've seen somewhere. I'm sorry, I don't give him credit. I don't know who it was. I've seen several people tweet it out or mention it, but home teams who lose game one, 19-2 ATS in game two. Then I think if you go back even further, like and build in the straight up numbers, it's probably even better. And you got to think like they're laying. Obviously, they're getting taxed because if they're the home team, that means they're the higher seed, and that means they are going to get taxed on a point spread. So I think that's telling that it's 19-2 in the last 21. And we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen last night. We've seen it happen in against the Knicks. We've seen that happen. So yeah, man, it's just I think that the Warriors are going to come out and their game plan has to be something different. I mentioned and chat to somebody that I think Looney's going to get less minutes simply because I think Kerr wants to have more spacing, more shooting on the floor because I think that was the reason why they didn't get to the rim a lot. And we know the free throw disparity. I mean, the Lakers, it wasn't a like bad officiated game. It's just that the Warriors didn't go to the rim a lot. And when they did, Anthony Davis was there swatting everything. So, and some people say that the Warriors are a jump shoot. I mean, they are a jump shooting team, but they do go to the rim frequently. The top 3 in rim percentage offense. So, I mean, they have to be more aggressive. I think taking Looney out and putting another scorer on the floor actually helps them out and makes people guard because as you've seen, they're not guarding Draymond, Looney, and I mean to a certain extent, like when Peyton's in, they're not guarding him. So I think if they get some guys in, like if they get the Poole, I guess the death lineup, I guess would be Poole, Clay, Wiggins, Draymond, and Steph. So I think that's going to space them out a lot more. Making Steph Curry a ball handler. I think Van Gundy brought it up on the broadcast also.
Yeah.
Just to get him in that screen and roll, because in that screen and roll, it's either you have to blitz him and get the ball out of his hands, which is going to get, end up in Draymond's hands, and then he kicks to the corner for Poole or Clay for a 3, or you just going to, try to get a mismatch with with Steph and a big. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Kerr does to adjust. I'm assuming that he does a lot more Steph Curry pick and rolls. Defensively, I thought they were fine. Defensively, I thought the strategy was fine. It's just that some of the shots that, D'Lo was hot in the third quarter. I think he started off, he made like his first 4 or 5 that he shot from the field. So yeah, man, I think the Warriors are gonna come out and adjust. I kind of do think that the Lakers, compete for I guess a half, kind of like the Memphis game in game 2, whenever they didn't have Ja. Or not game 2. Was it game 2?
Game 2, yeah.
Yeah, so when they didn't have Ja, I think it's gonna be similar to that, and also similar to the game 5 when they were up 3-1. Probably a little bit complacent, and we saw AD run out of gas late in that game. He was like gassed, and he played the entire second half. I thought LeBron played some heavy minutes, and of course we know that the Warriors were off that bad spot. Even though it was a bad spot, I still thought they would get it done, and they almost got it done. They were a Jordan Poole dumb shot away from tying the game at least, but. Yeah, I think that the pace has to slow down a little bit more for the Warriors also so they can work the Lakers defense in the half court, make them work. From what I saw, I felt like they were getting the shots that they wanted. They were going in, Clay, Poole, and Steph 6 made threes each. Now, obviously, they're probably not going to do that, but I felt like some of the shots that they were getting were pretty easy. And the defense for the Lakers, it was kind of like they would be complacent. Can't get complacent against Golden State.
No.
So, yeah, long story short, I'm leaning to the Warriors -6.
Yeah, I think for the Lakers or for the Warriors here tonight, I think that somebody brought up that are we going to see Looney get the rebounds again like he has been? I think it was in that late fourth quarter where Kerr did pull Looney out, and they went with I think the small ball lineup with Poole, Wiggins, Curry, Clay,
Yep.
and Green and Wiggins, right? So
Hmm.
um, he only did play 29 minutes, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, did Looney, but he still was able to get the rebounds. I think I agree with you that we'll probably see less Looney minutes here tonight. Probably in the second half,
Hmm.
and they go with that, quote unquote death ball lineup or small ball lineup, whatever you want to call it. But I think that there's two things that'll stick out to me that I agree with what you said is that AD did play 44 minutes last in game one. Um, and usually when he does play those heavy minutes, the next game he kind of runs out of gas. And the motivation may be a question. I mean, it's not either motivation or it's just he has tired legs or dead legs that he's not as effective as he can be. So I think I do think the Warriors bounce back here tonight, -6. I do like that. This might be a spot where it's probably like Boston last night, where like first quarter, first half, and full game here for
Yeah, that's what I like too.
yeah, for the Warriors. Kind of throwing some trends and stats out there. So since 2016, I think that's when the dynasty, or it's not dynasty, but when Steph, uh, Clay, and Draymond were like the core pieces in the playoffs. After a loss in the playoffs at home, they are 11-1 straight up, and then 8-4 against the spread. Nine and
Okay.
three towards the under are the Warriors. So they performed very well after taking a loss in the playoffs and then bouncing back next game at home. So again, that's 11-1 straight up, 8-4 against the spread, 9-3 towards the under for the Golden State Warriors. And again, we talked about we'll see the adjustments made by Steve Kerr. And I think, yeah, you're right. I think it might be a similar situation to what we see from round one for the LA Lakers. Like they got game one, game two, even though it was without Ja, we saw them step up. That you don't want to go down to a 0-2 hole against the LA
Hmm.
Lakers. Then you have the monumental task then, Delonte, of having to beat LeBron and AD 4 out of the next 5 games.
Yeah.
So I like the Warriors here with you. I would probably look at their first quarter there as well.
Yep.
But full game -6 for me as well. Before we get to the total and some player props, let me tell everyone about Underdog Fantasy. Best Ball Mania 4 is here, and Underdog Fantasy is giving away $15 million in prizes, plus plenty of ways to win with NBA, NHL, and MLB with their player prop parlays. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com and use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus of up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. It's also Kentucky Derby Week and the notorious OTB, brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network for all your triple crown bets. If you leave a review for the show wherever you get your podcast between now and Belmont Saturday on June 10th, you'll be entered into a drawing to win a canvas print of the Wolves' one-of-a-kind Fallen Bob painting. It's post time, and we have a bonus contest exclusively on the SGPN app for the Kentucky Derby. The winner gets a $100 SGPN gift card. All right, Delonte, let's discuss the total here. It's currently sitting at 227. Do you have any thoughts on that? I think it's the same total as game one.
Yep.
May
It
have
is.
closed around 227 and a half, but it
Mhm.
did squeak over the total. Large in part, I think, thanks to the first quarter in that game one for the uh, Lakers and the Warriors. I think they combined for 60 plus points, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. And it still
Let
came down to the shorter free throws at the end.
It did, yeah.
Yep.
Let me just double check here. Yeah, so they scored 60 points in the first half. Sorry, in the first quarter. They scored 69 points in the second quarter, and still barely got over the total. The second half did go under. Fourth quarter was where they kind of slowed the pace down. They had
Mhm.
only 45 combined points, but nonetheless, Delonte, 227 here. What do you think?
Yeah, I lean to the under. I think it'll be somewhat of a slower pace. which will favor the Warriors. And I think the Lakers will play at a slower pace. They'll want to play at a slower pace just because of all the minutes that AD and LeBron logged. How many minutes did LeBron log?
I think it
Because
was
I think he played.
40.
Yeah, I think he played most of that second half. AD didn't come out, but I know LeBron took a rest around like around the 3 minute mark in the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so he AD played 44 and LeBron played 40. Austin
Yeah,
Reeves played 39 as well.
right, but I think that it'll be a more defensive-minded type of game. Now, the Warriors, I'm pretty sure. Well, I can't even say that they might not hit all those threes because they literally can do it at any point in time. But I think they'll regress a little bit more and try to get to the rim a lot and maybe get Davis in foul trouble. I think that spacing is going to cause him to have to come out and guard, which will cause these other guys like Austin Reeves. Um, Vanderbilt did a decent job on Curry, and it's just that whenever like if he'll get a good defensive stop, then he'll just like the next play. It's just like, all right, cool, I got him, and then Steph hits him with something else. So
Yeah.
I thought he did a decent job. But whenever they switched and put Schroeder or Reeves or whoever on him, I thought that he just got what he wanted. He just missed. He didn't even take a shot in the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken. He had 10 points in the first quarter and no field goal attempts in the second quarter. He didn't attempt his first field goal until the third quarter with about 6:50 left.
Mm.
That's what I got. So I think Steph will come out and have a great game too. But I think both defenses come to play, so I like the under.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on the under as well. I mean, despite like we mentioned what happened in game one, where it was a very high scoring first half, the pace kind of slowed down, especially in that fourth quarter. I think we'll see a grinded out defensive type of matchup here. I think that the Lakers will, sorry, both teams actually will make the adjustments. Warriors in game one got a 53 3-point shots
All right.
in that game. 21 they knocked down, and like you mentioned, that was led by Steph Curry, Clay, and Jordan Poole in game one, where they all had 6 3-pointers each. So um, I think that, number one, the pace should and will slow down. We may see some tighter whistles here tonight as well. I do see it's Tony Brothers on the call here tonight. I'm trying to pull up some ATS numbers for both teams. Hopefully, I can get that before the pod ends here. But yeah, I agree with you about the under as well. Maybe a Lakers team total under is a way to maybe attack it as well. Let's get over to now some player props here, Delonte. What do we like for this game tonight?
One thing I really love is Andrew Wiggins tonight. I think he has a big game. I thought he was like non-existent in some moments. He looked good in the stretch, but overall, I thought he didn't look good to help out anything. I mean, he was playing decent defense on LeBron. Maybe that wavered him a little bit, but I like him over 23 and a half points and rebounds. With the small ball lineup that we mentioned, I think he'll have to be more aggressive on the boards. I think he'll look for a shot a little bit more with LeBron kind of sagging off him a little bit. Just I guess daring him to shoot it. So I think Wiggins has a big game, over 23 and a half points and rebounds. I'm gonna stick with my two guys, Clay and Poole. The Lakers
Mhm.
don't guards well. We've seen it in game one. Now, would they go off to that extent? Probably not. But I think Clay is still in for a big series. So I like both of those guys over their point totals. I would look at Jordan Poole's threes also. You can probably get plus money on his threes. Let me see. Oh well, they changed it, so you probably can get two. He's at 1.5 at reduced, like 105. So if you bump it up to 2.5, you can get plus money on it. So I'll probably be on that. As for the Lakers, I'm kind of staying away from Lakers props simply because the rotation is not as tight as you would like it. The only guy that I would look at would be Rui over his points and rebounds. I think
Mhm.
he'll have a bigger impact on the game, especially if they go a little bit smaller. Because when they come in, they have DiVincenzo, Moody, and Peyton. So when those guys come in, I mean, it's no big on the floor other than I guess Jermichael Green would be the other big who played well. But I think Rui has an advantage on the inside, and he'll be able to post up those smaller guards and to get to the rim a lot. So I like Rui over his points and rebounds. I don't see his points and rebounds listed just yet. I see his points at 7.
Mhm.
Actually, no, I do. I see it at 10.5. Yeah, so I'll take that. I'll take that over 10.5. So those are the props that I like for the game tonight.
I'm with you on Andrew Wiggins. I was looking at his rebounds here tonight um, for the Warriors. I think I got at 5.5 last time. Trying to see if that number has moved.
Let's
Give me a
see.
second. Still at
Wiggins.
5.5. It's a little bit of
Yep.
juice at minus 140. Um, Couple things why I do like it. Number one, he has actually. I know all the attention has been on Kevon Looney, for the rebounds, but Wiggins he's averaging 5.9 rebounds per game. But he has grabbed six or more rebounds in for the last 5 games for the Warriors in the playoffs, including three straight games here where he's had six or more rebounds. Game one, he had six for the Warriors. But like, you know how we talked about that, if we're thinking that Looney is not going to be in that lineup down the stretch, where they kind of go play that small ball, or maybe his minutes come down a little bit. Wiggins is probably that guy that's getting those rebounds, either him or Draymond.
Mhm.
And then we saw it down the stretch where I think it was like two in that one possession where he grabbed two offensive rebounds
It might have been
for.
3.
I think
Seriously,
it
yeah.
was, yeah, it was like two or
Yeah.
three.
Mhm.
But I think the one thing that also stuck out to me, talking about his offensive rebounds, at 34.3% of his rebounds have actually come as offensive rebounds over the last 5 games. So that's a very high percentage for a guy like Andrew Wiggins. And like we mentioned, if they do go to the death lineup, we usually see either Draymond at the 5 and then Wiggins at the 4, however you want to dice it up.
Mhm.
But that's one player prop I did like. He's also playing the minutes as well. He's averaging about 35.3 minutes per game, so it's not like minutes are an issue for Andrew Wiggins. So I'll attack the over 5.5 for Andrew Wiggins on his rebounds. You also mentioned Jared Vanderbilt. I think his steals and blocks are at 1.5. When I was looking last night, let me double check that as well. Yeah, he's at 1.5 at minus 125. You kind of look at his stat sheet, man. He's been filling it up. So, um, we've talked about the Lakers who pride themselves on the defensive side of the basketball. We saw that when Darvin Ham in his introductory press conference, I said, "Hey, we're going to play defense." And
Mhm.
thus far in this postseason, Lakers are number one in defensive efficiency. Um, but Vanderbilt, he's averaging 1.6 blocks and about one steal per game in the playoffs here. He's gone over this projection of 1.5 steals and blocks combined in 4 of the last 5 playoff games for the Lakers. Game one, I think he had 2 of each, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to pull that number up. The only thing that does make me nervous about him is that minutes aren't there yet. But we did see where he does. Darvin Ham was making the defense for offense substitutions
Mhm.
down the stretch. So, yeah, game one he had 2 steals and 2 blocks, and then in game 5 against the Grizzlies, game 6 he had 2 blocks and 1 steal. And like I mentioned, he's gone over this projection for the last 5 games in the playoffs for the Lakers. So those are the two that I was looking at as well. Um, do we go back? I mean, to the Davis and the Looney rebounds. What do you think?
Well, with Looney, I'm kind of weary. I'm also weary kind of both because I think the lineups are going to be different
Yeah.
and they won't be battling against each other a lot. So I thought that the Lakers, one of the big keys to why they won the game was the non Anthony Davis minutes. So when Anthony Davis usually is off the court, the defensive rating shrinks like
Yeah.
dramatically. So I thought they were. I know in the first quarter, well, in the second quarter they were like +3 when he was on the bench. I didn't have in my notes the third quarter or the fourth quarter, but they survived them. So I think they did really well. And I think a part of that was the Warriors not being able to attack them. So they didn't want to attack. I don't know why, but they just didn't want to attack them. So I think that comes into play a little bit more. Maybe he gets in foul trouble.
Hmm.
Um, and also not matching up with Looney means he has to guard somebody. So the key is to get him away from the paint. So they can get those cutters and divers to the basket, which is in part why I think Draymond will have a decent game tonight also. But yeah, I probably can get with more so Looney than AD simply because I think LeBron, Vanderbilt, and some of those guys are going to be helping out AD on the rim. And I think if they pull him away from the rim, he won't get as many long rebounds. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Yeah. All right. Did you have any other player props?
Nah, I didn't. I'm gonna look at Draymond, his points, rebounds, and assists also. Over 22 and a half. I think with that small ball lineup, he'll be a lot more effective than he was with Looney on the court. Because you got to think, like when him and Looney are on the court, like they're literally playing basically uh like a boxing three on Clay, Steph, and to a lesser extent Wiggins. They're not really guarding Wiggins like you would normally guard in the regular season, or if it was another opponent that was more, I guess, efficient shooting. So they're pretty much just packing the paint and just chasing around Steph and Clay. So I don't know how I don't know how Curry's going to adjust to that, but I think that he has to do something offensively to get maybe Looney and Draymond playing separately and not together.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. So let's get into our picks here then. For tonight here, Delonte, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, I'll try to. So I'm gonna go with a play that you mentioned at the top. I'll go not Lakers. I'll go Golden State first quarter, first half. The first quarter is -2. That's you can get pretty much reduced like 105, 107 if you shop around. I'm also going with that first half -3.5, -3. Some -3s out there if you look around. So I like both of those equally enough to make them a double lock. So I guess we'll put 2 locks on it. As for the dog, I'm gonna have to shop around and try to find a player prop. If you have one, I'll let you go and I'll just look and see if it's something that I like as far as player prop wise.
All right. So first, let's go with my lock here. I, hmm, I think I'm just gonna lay the points with the Warriors here tonight, minus the 6. I just think they come out and get the job done. I would not be surprised if they do win by double digits. If you want to go -10 plus 160, but I do think it's a worse smash spot
I
if you want
like
to
that
go,
too.
yeah, first quarter, first half, and then full game. I just think that we'll see a even series going 1-1 back to LA, something similar that we saw with Boston. So, and again, we mentioned it, that Warriors had the opportunity to win the game down the stretch in game
Yeah, they
one,
did.
right? I think
They did.
they tie it up and then
I think they were. I think they were close. I think they were down one, and
okay,
then so basically, this is what happened. It was a stretch where Darvin Ham would not call a timeout. It was
yeah,
11. It was 11-0 run. The crowd was going crazy, and then I think it was either Steph or Clay hit a shot on the corner or on the extended corner, and then
yeah,
they come down and D'Lo draws a foul, and then they go up 3. And
okay.
essentially, I think that's what happened. If they would have basically got that, I think it was a bad call on the D'Lo foul. But if they would have got the ball back down 1, I think it would have been a totally different game.
Yeah. So officially I'll go Warriors minus the 6. I'll lay the points here with the Warriors. For my dog, um, man, I wish that Vanderbilt prop was at plus money, but it's at -125. You have your dog yet?
Yeah, I do. So
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going with Andrew Wiggins double double. You can get it anywhere from like 490 to 5-1. So if you shop around, FanDuel has 5-1, DraftKings has 490. So it's plenty of opportunities out there for you to find it. Definitely get the best number. But we talked about Wiggins and how we think he's going to impact the game, especially from. I thought you brought up some great points about his rebounding.
Yeah.
I had already liked it originally, but I didn't want to lay the juice, so I just added his points in because I think he can get anywhere from 17 to 18 points, and then that would just lessen the blow as far as the prop wise. But I think he has a shot to go for 10, 11 rebounds with the small ball lineup being implemented, which I'm just assuming that it's going to be implemented more than it was in game 1. Not that I have any inside info or anything, but that's just how I figure the game will go and how Kerr, knowing his adjustments, I think he makes big adjustments in game and within a series flow. In a desperate spot, I think he has to play more small ball. So I'll give me Andrew Wiggins double at 5-1.
Um, so DraftKings right now has Wiggins 7 plus rebounds at plus 125.
Go for the
Um,
10, man. Go for the 10. What
what's
is he at
10?
10?
Plus 550.
Oh,
So I'll give out both. Then Wiggins
there we go.
seven or more rebounds plus 125, and then if you want to take his 10 or more rebounds at plus 550 on DraftKings right now. Let me see what it's over on FanDuel. Sometimes they have better odds. It's at 5-1 on DraftKings. So again, guys, shop around for the best number
Definitely.
right now for if you want to play those rebounds for Wiggins. 7 or more is at plus 125 on DraftKings. Eight or more is plus 190 over on FanDuel, and then 10 or more is plus 550 for Andrew Wiggins here tonight. So yeah, we're gonna be Andrew Wiggins fans tonight for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. That is gonna do it for this edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast. Delonte, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here, bud?
So man, we big Andrew Wiggins fans. I'm definitely gonna keep keep the hope alive for Poole and Clay, because Rail and Scott were giving me shit about taking them over with it. They crushed it last night. They didn't say much about it, so I'm gonna keep riding with those guys. I think they'll have a big series. I'll mention that Clay will have a big series. Poole will probably be more up and down, but I think he gets back to his normal self here. So
I think Tom's or Clay will have a big points game in LA. I think.
yeah, his dad played there. I
I
mean, I
think
think he
yeah.
play. He always plays. He always plays well against the Lakers. I mean, the thing about the Lakers is they don't have any good outside of Vanderbilt. They don't have any good on ball. Now Dennis is somewhat disruptive, but I mean, he's more like he'll get out of. He's like that corner who tries to jump everything,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then he'll get beat. He's like Trayvon Diggs,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
So that's how I feel about that.
It also, so I think we mentioned down the stretch that they made, or Darvin Ham like made that. Well, some like Jared Vanderbilt came into for the offense defense substitution,
Mm-hmm.
and down the stretch there they doubled Steph Curry. I think that was a great adjustment that he made there, trying to make somebody else beat him. And then
Mm-hmm.
we talked about it yesterday with Scott, the shot that Jordan Poole put up with about 10 seconds left, trying to tie up the game. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun series for sure. Hopefully, we had got some winners here tonight in the bag. So that's gonna do it, guys. We'll be back tomorrow in some form or fashion. I think it's Terrell and Scott tomorrow
Yep.
at the usual time. Make sure to follow Delonte on Twitter at XXLanteXX. Follow me on Twitter at SportsNerd824. Before you guys get out of here, do us a favor, hit that like button. Um, and then also make sure to subscribe to the NBA Gambling Podcast YouTube channel here. You guys will know when we go live every single day. All right. Good luck with your bets here tonight. Let's break these books off and let it ride.